So in all these, I've been using what I would call a humanoid character. Um, and that's just a term. The default humanoid has a radius of 0.5 and a height of 2. That's kind of our standard humanoid shape. Um, but if we had different kinds of agents, say a small player and a larger monster AI that was chasing it, we might want our small player to be able to slip through smaller passages that the larger ogre wasn't able to. And we can do this by having multiple nav meshes. One that's defined for the small player and the other for the larger ogre. So first, let me show you a scene where we only have a single nav mesh defined for a humanoid character, radius 0.5, height 1.5. And so whereas I have this bigger ogre, well, it's going to generate the ogre for me. But I have this larger ogre. There's the ogre, and there's my character. And as these guys move around, they're operating on the same nav mesh. So the little guy goes through these passages, and the big guy goes through them too, even though it means that he's overlapping uh, some of the uh, gaps with his character. Um, but if I switch this to the multiple agent one, where I now have a nav mesh for the humanoid and I have a nav mesh for the ogre, where the ogre is now a radius of 1. And you'll see now when I begin this thing, first of all, I can see now 2 nav meshes. One that has these has this narrow gap that allows a 0.5 character to get through, and but underlying that, a nav mesh that has a larger offset from the edge so that these gaps are not passable. And so these guys go through the gaps where they're both allowed to, but the skinny guy goes through these, whereas the ogre has to go the long way around and actually can't get there. This is as close as the ogre can get because this pathway is not passable for it. He takes the short path through the narrow passageways. He goes the long way around and gets as close as he can to the targeted position that we wanted here. And so all we did there, we have the NavMesh humanoid that has a radius of 0.5, and we have the NavMesh ogre that has a radius of 1, and my my NavMesh agent on the ogre object is has a radius. Oh, that's the obstacle ones. Has a radius of 1 that's set here in the NavMesh surface, not in the agent. So that's pretty cool, and you can certainly generate interesting scenarios with characters that some can slip through, others can't. I had to modify the level generator a little bit, level generator 2, because with this second nav mesh, after I've generated the level and built the humanoid nav mesh, I have to also build the ogre nav mesh. I also added the spawning of an ogre too, so that he's instantiated someplace. Um, I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to come back and do patrolling AI with waypoints. So I'll stop the recording, and I'll see you in class. Bye.